I know it's a little early for a bunch of us hunters, but got stuff to do. So the mold you guys watched us do the last couple days, I've had everyone into the shop today, and so I'm going to work on getting some of these out of the mold. I did with some help. Took 3 or 4 of us. We got this one out of the mold, out of the first half. So this is the back side. She pops out. And so we've got that piece kind of ready to start seaming back together into the piece. Now this one is going to be the real bugger to get out of the mold because of, well, boobs. It's going to suction in there really good into this plaster shell. So it's going to take a lot of loving and fighting, and something I'll point out because I'm going to do it now before I start digging into it. The way we did this mold, we did it with 1-inch square blocks of silicone, and you can kind of see them all over the place. And then these are held in with sticks through the plaster, and then it's taken, and that's what's holding this into the plaster shell. And here's a perfect case you can see, and this one's had a little abuse because we sat on it for a year, but you can tell where you can see the plaster, right? You can see if I can get that color coordinated a little better. You can see the white is the plaster. We coated it with an Ultracal. So we really just mixed up a batch of Ultracal and brushed it on with our hands, just to make it stronger, because this one, she's 6'2", this model. And we wanted this shell not to flex to help get a better result. It makes the shell quite a bit heavier, but it's not a very thick coat. It's, an 1/8 inch thick coat, maybe, but it sure kept it from shifting a lot while we let it sit through a season or 2 of weather, which is what we were afraid was going to happen. So I'm going through here. I'll do this so you guys can see it. You have to watch from above because I'll need my hands, but I'm going to try and get all of the sticks that are holding this in here out. I'm going to try and get this piece out of the mold. When I say that, what I'm actually trying to do is get my silicone shell and my Bondo fiberglass shell that we made popped out. Once I get that all popped out, I can flip it over on the table and then peel the silicone off. And then I have a master piece of the front, and then we'll have to take and start syncing it up to the back. So this morning, because it's still early, my brain's not fully functional, I got some coffee. Normal hunter style, Eliminate Syndicate playing in the background, and I'm going to take and do this. So I will try and look up at the ceiling. This is probably going to be a lot of grunting and groaning. Let's see if I can get a good angle so you guys can try and see this, because it's a rough. She's big. She's larger than this table. We're going to have some challenge. We're going to have to use our other table over there and add on about a foot onto the end of it. We made blocks so we can add on and extend it when we need to. And to try and get the head and feet and hands attached, which we have in clay. So we'll get those out going pretty soon. Here's something else to kind of keep in mind. So far on this body mold, we've got probably 3 people at a solid, not counting the time we waited in between, but we've got a good solid 7, 8, 9 days worth of manpower in it. Doing this, we're going to have probably, she's not going to be done for easily another 2 weeks just on this one, and that's going to depend on how bad our seams are. There's a little wobbles and some odd shading that's probably going to cause us some pain when we connect her up. So we're going to have to do some sculpting to fix that. So we'll still get all the love we want out of it, but it's going to take a little more artistic love rather than pure molding love. Doing the bodies are never as simple as make a mold, pull a body. You usually have a couple weeks worth of work in any of these kind of bodies before it's ever even close to doing it, and we're doing foam bodies normally, so this one takes extra work because we want all the detail. And that's, of course, the challenge. So you guys can watch. This one will probably be a short video because I'm either going to cuss this out because it's going to pop pretty easily, or other people will show up and maybe I'll get this one out a little faster. We'll kind of see as the time goes. there's a couple of things I'm doing here. You'll see me do a little more of it as we go. Is the pieces we've been working on. I use these Harbor Freight. There's a couple of them, but different sizes and angles. Harbor Freight tin shears to try and help me trim my fiberglass wherever I can. Obviously, without cutting my silicone. Mostly because when I get this thing out of the mold, every one of these little spiky things are going to cut me, pierce my fingers, make me itch for a couple days. I want to get rid of as many as I can, just to reduce my own pain. So although I won't be looking at the camera quite as much as I normally would, if anyone has any comments or just curious, ask something. Happy to kind of explain what the heck's going on. You guys can learn from this and see how some of this stuff is made. I have confirmed with one of my models that when we do her life cast, the most recent one coming soon, we're actually going to try a couple new techniques, and she's going to let me live video it as long as I protect the important parts from you all seeing, and should be game. So we're going to do a couple of those sometime very soon. They're kind of fun to watch. But they're by no means easy. We think we found a way we might be able to do the molds. We've been watching lots and lots and lots and lots and lots. We're by no means the experts of the world. We're just have done a whole lot, so we think we kind of have our own little niche of what we do. In a way, there's no right or wrong way to do some of this stuff, but we're always learning. You know, I say that all the time on these videos. Always learn, always learn, always learn. You stop learning, you become obsolete. And so we think we've come up with a couple ideas that will make the mold, and they're not like world changing. It's just, oh, we saw another guy do a mold like this. That means he had to do it this way, and so we have an instinct to try some of the things he did. And we think we're going to end up with a little bit better of a body. It's going to take us a bunch of longer time, but it should be a lot easier in our models, which we like. Because standing there for 4 hours with 150 pounds on you is very, very rough on the feet. So we're going to try and come up with, see if we can come up with some things to help make it easier on them and still get as good or better results than we have been. So, alright. I got most of this stuff. I'm going to trim those hands. Mostly I'm, again, protecting my fingers and trying to make sure it's not glued to my mold, because that's going to be a bugger to get later. I'm the only one doing this at the moment. If it's attached somewhere, I only have so many hands, so I got to fight a little extra to get that out. Alright, enough of that one. Hey Mike! I saw you join, working on a body mold. Alright, I got most of those. Now the bugger here, because this is heavy. See if I can do this. Some of these sticks look like they've been pulled. I don't know how I did that. I must have did it the other night. I forgot about it. Cool. And let's see if we get lucky. Alright. So this thing, I can pick it up by myself, but it is not easy, and it uses all of my arm muscles. I'd probably bet she's, the shell as it is right now, 80 pounds. Probably a good guess. Now, so we found a new tool the other day. Harbor Freight tire tool. It's the pop your tire on and off your rib. They end up being pretty damn good mold poppers, because I can get in and use them to pop molds, then leave them there, and it adds some extra pressure for the next piece. So we're kind of excited. I bought a bunch of these for $4. They're stupid. They're awesome. So I can get some of the right angle to get in. So for those who have been watching, these blocks that we added were great. They held the mold in well. The downside is they held the mold in very well. So it's been a little more of a problem than we would have liked. And I'm not sure, we saw this technique a year ago and wanted to try it, so this is actually the first time we're pulling one with these kind of blocks on them. It held very well. It's also still holding and not popping out of the mold once we fill it with a hard shell. So that kind of sucks. It means I gotta strip my shell to get them off. And I think it's mostly where we place them. A lot of the ones we do now have long strips up the seams, so they don't have this problem. I really like these blocks for the core center areas at the straight at the bottom because it holds the weight on it, but it's not so hot. It's really just not so hot with doing what we're doing here. Kind of unhappy with it, but we'll live with it. Trying to just get these blocks to release enough. There, she'll pop out now. If I have one over here, oh, just at the bottom, so it's just that side. See how my arms are. The other kick of doing this is every time you mess with these things, you risk popping A, the shell we just made, B, ruining your outer shell so you can't make another one, and trying to get enough weight to pressure. And the biggest problem with hers is the double D's. Because the mold's it's latched in, right? Gravity, when she's standing, is there. So I've got to get this side to kind of pop up. But when I do that, I've got a catch point here and catch point at least this armpit. That one kind of looks okay to get it to pop up. There's a chance I can get it to pop from the head, but I just got to kind of feel it and see how much it's catching because I don't want to ruin my shell. That's really the hardest part, is trying not to ruin my shell if I can help it. That's part of the reason we added the Ultra Cal, was to hopefully save a little more of the shell than a lot of these molds save. But speaking of that sentence, we probably have just about every shell, the mother molds, the plasters even, from the ones we've done. Because if we ever had one of our molds die, or we chose to remake it, we can go back to our silicone, put it in the plaster shell. It's not going to be as good as it was the day after the mold, but it's there, and hopefully save. You don't ever want to re-life cast a model you've life casted if you can help it. Mostly because they get pissed and they don't want to do it again. But so we want to save from ever having to do that, and that's the reason for keeping them all. Of course, that takes a lot of space. We've got a semi-trailer full of that kind of stuff. Actually, two. Not 1.5. We got a lot of semi-trailer full of molds and parts and a lot of storage of shells that we pretty much just can't do anything with. Hope to never have to use, but absolutely don't want to get rid of. Now there's all those things. Some of this is going to pop out of silicone. Oh well. Here we go. Moving along. It's kind of funny. I talked to a lot of new prop makers, and people are like, "Oh, I want to make a body." We're like, "Cool," and they don't realize how much work it really is. You know, if you're doing it to just make one and you can pull it right out of the silicone you took it on, or you're making 3 or 4, cool. As soon as you're trying to do something larger scale of any fashion, you're it's a whole new scale of work that most people don't realize. And you kind of don't know until you're all the way through it, and you're like, hey, it's popped out. Oh God, it looks like crap. And you gotta spend all the time and effort because you're already invested at that point. And it comes to bite you in the butt. A lot of work. Finger stuck, cool. I'm trying to just get, I don't know if you guys probably can't see so well on this video what I'm fighting with, but one of those blocks are caught, hey Michael, are cut in the grooves to hold it in, but now I can't pop it out. So I'm trying to find a way to get those to pop. I can. Alright, that one's just going to get a little break. I'm just going to trim my mold a little. I know you're wondering why, Rich. Well, because my other choice is ruining mold, and I'd rather control my ruin, control my damage, so it does what I want, not what it wants. And at least I could repair this if I ever had to. Again, I hope to never have to use this mold again when we're totally done. But if I had to, I could control it. At least my damage is it's on my terms. Alright, now she's going to pop out there. That one straight down. Let's see if I can get some height on that now. There we go. Okay. I'm under both legs. Yeah. Oh, sweet. My garage is going to pop out. There's two. I got 2 blocks, but I think that one's going to go fine. Sweet. I'm now popped to about belly button. Let's see if we can get this side to go do the same. Ah, there's a block over there, Pugger. Yeah, I don't think I planned ahead enough when we did these blocks. Concept good. It's a busy day, and we just didn't get enough of those in the right spots. They're good. I'll do these again, but I'm going to do them differently. There's no doubt about that. So for those of you who can't tell from the overhead shot, I'm now free and pivoting all the way to my cleavage line, which is where I knew I would get stuck. So I'm trying to get her to shift that way, which is really hard to do when there's little blocks holding it in place. But I might get lucky. I think I'm going to get lucky. Optimism, optimism. Or not. There's another block right there. Come on, pop out. All right. I'm really glad I found these tire irons yesterday. Here, one right there. Bugger. That's what's keeping me from shifting that way. Huh. This arm feels locked. No, that's not. Okay. Both arms are free. You can't be far off here. Throwing some tools under it, just it pops back down. It has a little levering. Oh, I think I found a pop. Ooh, ooh, good sign. That felt good. All right. Same thing over here, if I can get it. Yeah, that are slightly differently, but. Get a can. I need a pry bar. I think I am under a boob. That's a good spot to be. Come on. Alright, I'm sorry, I'm being held on by some silicone block somewhere. She's freeing, slowly but surely. Ah. Come on. Whew. Come on. I see it. Home stretch. And there we go. Over the hurdle of pain. We are popped. Ow. Now let's see if I can get her really upheld, move the shell, and I'll lay her down and we'll see how bad we did. If I missed anything. Yeah, Body Double is a 2-part Platinum Cure silicone. We actually don't use Body Double anymore unless somebody has some and we're off consulting somewhere and they want us to use Body Double. We'll use it, it works. We use Platzil Gel 10 from Polytech. It has a better working time for us, the way we do our body molds, and comes out the same. It's also a Platinum Cure 2-part silicone, but we just have this mold that we did, I think it was about 10 months ago, and we're trying to get her finished. So it was Body Double at the time, just before we were major proponents of Polytech. See if I can do this and lift it. I'll just go stand her up for a second. Okay. Oh, I don't know if our camera, I'll bring her back. Get all my tools out of the mold. Yep, it gets a little moldy when you sit for a year. That's plaster and water for you. You can coat it with latex and the ammonia will kill it. But what I'm doing here, here. Alright. That plaster shell's got some weight. Keep that piece. Alright, let's bring the other shell back. Alright. We find a cloth. I gotta have one somewhere. I'll wash out the work. Alright. I'm gonna be politically correct semi a little bit on Facebook and cover the genitals, but I need a pillow. And I have no pillow. Damn it. Need something to set her on. Actually, I got a body bag I can use. This will be enough. Give it a little force, yeah. Okay. And I think the fiberglass just cut me in the face, shifting that awesome. Okay. So, I wanted to keep this on and show you guys how we took it off so you can see how we did the shelling. We did these with blocks. That's what held it in the mold. And so what was really biting me was the not well planned. A couple on these legs on the side meant it wouldn't come straight out. Duh. Looking at it now, I'm an idiot. At the time, it was genius. It's now an idiot. So we did that a little differently. They're great. They hold in real well. We do some more strip driven. We pre-make platinum strips, 1/2 inch wide, 3/4 inch wide by 1/4 inch thick or so, and kind of line it all up while we're putting on the silicone, or right after, is how we do it now. So let's see how bad we got here. Kind of want to get the easy parts first when you're peeling a silicone, and not the hard spots like under boob, because I don't want to tear my silicone. And yes, I'm trying to be very gentle on the genitals, because silicone is cut into all the little spots. All the sensitive bits. I don't want to rip the mold or the silicone. Got it. Okay. Now for the moment, I'm just going to lay this mold behind me and come back to it. We got all the detail we wanted. Trying to not expose the Facebook world too bad. Boobs you have to see though. So from the mold, this is a flaw we had in letting her sit too long. I got a little boob oddity that we'll fix with some clay. It's pretty much just her right boob. There's some stomach that from where she was breathing we didn't plaster well when we were putting it back together. So we're basically gonna, when we backfill this, we'll grind some of this off with a sander, put clay back in, put it back in and texture it, or maybe even just Bondo it back lower. There's just a couple little, like, they look like skin tags. They're tags from where we had an air bubble against the body when we put it on. Most of the tags are very small and pop off just by, like, just a fingernail. So they don't really bother us, and we can texture fix those in a few seconds. But she's gonna need a little love, but she is good. The mold is good. All the weird things that you guys can probably see from above, almost better than I can see down below, are expected of a body mold. You're always going to have some weirdies. Yeah, it came out very well, Michael. It's obviously we expect the work. We know we're going to have the seam problem. Again, we did a body mold that we cut in half, right? There's a seam we got to go fix before we can make our master. There's a couple oddities that I don't like that we'll just fix anyway. But it's weird, there's like where her tattoos are, you don't see the ink of the tattoo, but the tattoo is really scarring, so we actually see her tattoo scars. You can see the shapes they were, and we can paint those back in later if we wanted to without a problem, but there's a couple pretty cool tattoo scars. She's got some incredible tattoo ink. I'm going to trim that off before I cut myself. That's what'll happen. Now, something I'll kind of remind of the buggers of it. For this particular mold, I don't care about my wrists, I don't care about my ankles, or my neckline yet, because we have heads in clay. When we bring the clay ones out and we attach them, we'll probably just cut real smooth seam, fill some clay inside and attach the feet, and then seam it and texture it, and it'll be perfectly fixed. So all of this ugly ankles and wrists is by design for us. Yeah, Joy, let me see if I can find the easiest one that I can show you of the tattoos, because it's kind of cool to see. Actually, you know what? There's one on the back side, the back half, that's really good. Let me get a couple more towels here. I'm going to flip her over and lay it down to the other side so I can lay the back on top of her. Where we want that there. I think I'm going to double the boobs up. I want to screw up a nipple here. Move my phone stupidly. Okay. Remember, it's touching my table here. Give it a little padding. Thighs and nipples. Cool. Okay. So that's now the back side of that. And if I go put her actual back side on, because I haven't, that's actually not so bad. I thought that was going to be a whole lot worse. Oh, hell yeah. Okay. Let me take and pull you down here for a minute. Joy tattoos. Because there's a great one you can tell right here. She's got a big like sun and moon cool symbol and some underarm flowering. You can also see if you look in the arms, all of those lines, those are from her tattoo. She's got a big circle there, you know, flowers and arms. She's got a whole half arm. You can really tell if you look right here, there's the flower. It's like shape. I mean, you know, I'm kind of describing the shape. There's some tattoos on her back. And when we, but so that's all the tattoo is making scar tissue, adding color. So they come out really well in body molds. Michael, you're asking what's the weight of 1/2 of the shell? 5 pounds? 3 pounds? Not very heavy. The weight of everything I was doing was really in the weight of the silicone, because she's got 2.5 gallons of silicone, so that's 4-gallon cups, plus the plaster, plus the conduit pipes, plus the Ultracal we put on it just to help hold the shape as much as we can. You know what? Let me take off my cool gloves for a minute. Hang on. I'm going to be able to reuse these gloves another round, so I can get them off. Okay. I'll show you guys something pretty cool on the molds. When doing the shelled molds. Now this mold's taken a little abuse, right? Because most of that was me, because I didn't like the way this sat, so I hit it back out. But that's how we've done one of our molds. I didn't need her feet, so I don't care about those. But we've done basically conduit with a pipe bender, and then we run a couple cable ties around it, snap it tight, and then wrap it with a bunch of the plaster when we're putting it on. It came out farther, and we just cut it off later. But so I'm trying to support the shape of the arms, keep the chest to stomach to knees to, you know, and then we've strapped it all the way down the legs, down to the feet, keep the feet spacing right so that this mold's going to shift a lot less for us when we let it sit it. This thing, let's see how heavy this is. I lift it one-handed. It's probably 35, 40 pounds by itself. I can pick it up one-handed. It's not easy. The silicone shell has a whole nother weight. So the whole thing as a unit is heavy as hell. But each of the pieces individually are doable. They're pick upable. Any of us can pick up that shell and shift it around because it's not too bad, but probably weighs less than the 5-gallon buckets we carry. But it's combined all together has some weight. So since I have the camera down, I'll show you kind of the seam base. Now I don't have her perfectly lined up yet for shoulders. Like I can tell that shoulder is aligned, but I got a gap here where one of them shifted, one of them went in, one of them went out. So we'll basically resculpt and reshape her body a little bit. Here I'll probably take this chunk out right here, shift her hip in and give her a little bit of a thigh tuck. We'll smooth these out. That piece will go in. The bottom one appears to have curled a little more than I'd like, but by the time we add clay and shift it back in. We'll trim this piece down here, and that'll match. The crotch and butt cheeks won't be so bad. The reality is, to do these in foam later, I'm actually going to have to fill in some of her butt crack. She's got a nice butt. I'm going to have to fill some of that in because foam getting in there is just going to get in there and not come out and rip anyway, so I want to do that ahead of time. You know, you can see the seam. This is the picture most people don't see of body molds, that, okay, now that I've got the mold and I've done the piece in silicone, we got to give it some love. So we're going to kind of, while she's in this position, as these two pieces stuck like that, we're going to take and go as far up the ankle as we can reach here and build a fiberglass ring in there to hold the two together. Same on this side. Then we'll reach in from the neck that's wide open and try and get some along hips, really as far as we can, and put fiberglass pieces filling the seam as much as we can. We'll get the inside of the arm here and probably down to here from above. Again, we'll shift a little. We might trim one or two of these molds to get it to sit as close as possible. This is kind of a long, boring, cursing, loud music kind of process, but then once we've got all that and we chip off the parts we don't like, we'll take and clay it up, seam it up, attach the head, hands, and feet, and then we'll basically, all of that work for weeks and weeks and months and months and all this time and all the effort we put in is to get a positive we can now mold. Because I can't pull foam out of these molds. They won't look like the way I want. And we're going to do these in a urethane skin to get a lot of detail, or a PT Flex skin, and then foam back them. So Billy, what foam do we use? There's a whole bunch we use. We have our own budget foam we use for doing the less expensive, budgety DIY kind of bodies. For the higher end stuff, we use some 8-pound foam from BJB, or Smooth On foam, or Polytech foam. Our answer is, it's not about what we use. We don't have something we just only use. We use the best material we can for the task we're at hand. You know, if someone's trying to get something cheap, we're going to go with the cheapest foam we can accomplish the goal of what they're doing. If you want the super high end, we're going to do that too, because we can. If we want to do, I mean, we can do the gorgeous, beautiful bodies like a lot of people see at the other haunted houses. But they cost $600, $700, $800, and a lot of people don't have the budget. So we found a way to do them, and we could get them at $100. Now everyone has more access to get cool stuff, and they can DIY them. But we do a lot of the real high-end stuff for people. It's just not what we take to Transworld. Because I like to find a niche. I don't want to do everything else, same thing everyone else is doing. But we can do them, and we can usually save people money on them. They just got to reach out to us. All right, so I'm pretty happy with this one. That wasn't as bad as I thought it could be. That could have been a whole lot worse. The fact that I got it that far means we're probably 3 or 4 nights of work, another 20 hours maybe, to get this seamed and get some of it in clay. And then we'll have to... This is going to be a long project because we got a lot in the works. Probably going to work on her a couple hours at a time until we get it all seamed up and cleaned up. We'll do. I'll make it a point to do a live video or two of some of our cleanup on this. I don't want to sit and do 20+ hours of video of doing nothing but spending time doing detail on a seam, because I think it's boring. But we'll do a couple of videos of seam making, seam cleaning, a little bit of maybe one evening of us doing some of the clay work on it. We'll have the heads and hands. So if you guys are kind of watching all the time and just following our videos or our YouTubes or our Facebook Lives or wherever you're watching on the website, take and keep watching, because we'll get this one cleaned up in a couple weeks, slowly but surely, little bits at a time. And then I'm going to do a badass mold of this one. It's going to be a poured mold, basically case mold, matrix mold, whatever word you like to use. It's kind of a combination of all the above that I'm doing on this. So she's going to get a whole lot of clay. She's going to take a couple 100 pounds of clay, and we're going to coat this shell with clay, make a fiberglass shell on that, and it's going to be one seriously cool looking mold. I've already been planning it in my head, especially right now while we got this. I can now see how it's going to fit. So she's going to end up being a fairly perfect 2-piece mold. That's it. I'm going to have a pour spout in the top of the head because all my angles are going to work for foam. I might have to put a pour spout at the small of the back, but I'm trying really hard not to on this one because what we're doing with it. So I'm going to try and just have the one pour spout right in the back of her hair. This is going to be a hell of a mold. It's going to be pretty cool. If you picture this mold, it's going to have about a 4-inch flange around here, all the way around. We'll have the hands attached, so the hands will be, let's see, I'm upside down, so they're going to be my hand, this is our left hand. Yeah, how does that sit? Sit like that. So it'd be about like this, right? Attach her hands, and that's going to be in 2 pieces. I'm going to have a seam all the way down her fingers. Her feet are going to be part of the mold rather than separate pieces on this one because I'm going to have them attached. So the front side is going to have the top of the foot to the middle of the toes, and the bottom piece is going to kind of wrap around. And then this is going to be a solid piece in here of fiberglass shell and be shell all the way down. I'll probably have this as a solid piece so there's no flex in fiberglass. Come all the way up the other side. She's going to take some time to clay up. She's going to take me 8 hours to get the mold wall just clayed. Probably. Maybe 5 hours. But it's going to be one serious mold. So we'll do it as a fiberglass jacket. Just like we've done this in... I keep grabbing her butt. It's not on purpose, guys. Just like this one has the beauty coat in the Bondo resin, and then it's fiberglass inside. When we're doing the other mold, we'll clay it. Then I'm going to make a Bondo resin fiberglass shell on that, and then fiberglass the outside of that. Then I got to peel the shell out, take all the clay off, down to my mold wall, put the shell back on, and then pour silicone. She's probably going to take, and it'll be 3/4 inch thick. This is going to be a mold I never have to remake again, Lord help me. It's probably going to take 6 or 7 gallons, maybe 8 gallons, maybe 9, maybe 10 gallons worth of silicone. So this is going to be a rather costly mold. It's probably going to be $1,500 to $2,000 worth of silicone to make this one. And because I never want to make this one again because she's 6'2". She's bigger than me, could probably kick my ass. So we're going to do this mold well, and that's why we're going to spend a lot more time getting it all super cleaned up and detailed skin. Then we'll do it as a case mold all the way through. But she's going to take some time. We've just got a couple other, I think in the next 3 weeks, well before this one's done, I've got another life cast we're doing on a gal that you guys got to watch. And we're going to do that one as a piece shell and then make these legs back in pieces. So I'll have 2 leg pieces that come to about here. I'll have a torso to probably here somewhere under boob line. I'll have arms, I'll have head and feet, and then once we have all of those pieces, we'll put it back together on the table and Bondo seams, sculpt the seams, and I should have less sculpting than I do on this one because these lines suck. So we're going to do it in 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 15 pieces of mold of actual life casting, and then we'll repair it back together as a solid piece, and then we'll do exactly what we did. We're doing them all with these silicone matrix molds and making some badass molds. So yeah, Michael, you guys will definitely get to see some of that big mold done because that's a big one that it should be pretty cool. I'm excited about it. Billy, you're welcome. Definitely be watching. Keep your eye out for me. Add me on the follow list. If you're not on my friends list, add yourself. Hit add friend. We'll do it. So she's going to be a little while. So don't think we'll ignore it. I will definitely show you guys do it. If you don't see any more on her in the coming days, we haven't done anything exciting. I'm trying to make sure you guys don't get bored by stuff, but see anything that's important and worth watching. So I will do it. Meanwhile, I'm going to go get more coffee, and I got a bunch of cleanup to do around the haunt. I may be back on later doing some more stuff. So thanks, guys. Have a good day.